Traveler's Notebook setup. Okay, you guys, we have lots and lots to talk about this time because I'm going to talk about a couple of different things. So for May, we are using the Simple Stories Bliss collection. It is a super, really fun, nice, springy, nice pastels. It's a really good transition to take us out of kind of the winter blaz into spring. So we'll be using the Bliss collection. But one of the things I wanted to show you guys first, as we kind of get started, I have emptied out my Traveler's Notebook from last month. So it is now empty. And I've had a couple of you contact me and say, so once you empty your Traveler's Notebook out, what do you do with all of the pieces that you had inside? Because those are really good pieces. We don't necessarily want to throw those away, right? So what I do with them, I actually, I'm going to grab this here. So excuse my reach for a second. I have way too many things on this table that I'm trying to show you guys. What I've done is I've taken them and put together a spread in my memory planner. So this is one of the Carpe Diem spiral planners, and I have been using it on and off. And I've got to be honest with this. I am not doing memory planning every week, week in, week out. I just kind of do it sporadically when I have something that I want to document for the week. So this was January's outcome, if you will. So some of you that were participating in the kit back in January, February, I had used the Simple Stories, oh my gosh, I'm totally drawing a blank, the winter collection. Let's just call it the winter collection for now. Anyway, I had Sub-Zero. I think it's called Sub-Zero. Too much on my mind, you guys. Sorry about that. I had used that in my Traveler's Notebook. So what I did is I took out all the pieces and I just used some of the pieces in my spread. So you might recognize that little snowman. He was in the pocket. Some of the stickers, some of the things that were in the pocket. So I just kind of used those to embellish my memory planner. So an easy way that I have found to store those items, this is what I did with the inserts for, or the decorations, I guess I should say, for March, and that was Easter themed. So I took the bag that the, this month's, or this kit's, I shouldn't say month because we get one per kit, one per bi-monthly kit. I took the insert out of this bag. On the inside of the bag, I put all the little kind of cards and die cut things that were tucked into the pockets. And then any stickers I just stuck there on top of the pockets. So I can store that away. And then when I am ready to either scrapbook that or put that in my memory planner, I have all those pieces ready to go saved. So that is kind of an idea on what you could do with the inserts once you're done with them. Okay, so let's start out by building the pockets. That's kind of always where I start. And what I've done, I've gone ahead and I have pre-cut all of my element papers, or my 3x4 cards that I cut from the element papers. So I'm just going to start with a couple of those, filling in the pockets. One of the things that we talked about last month that I do almost on everything I do, whether it's in my Traveler's Notebook, in my scrapbooks, I always outline. And it's just one of those funny things that I do. So let me see my little box of tools there. I need to grab my black pen. The one that I really like to use is just a Sharpie, and it's a tiny little Sharpie. It's fine, and you can see it's a really fine tip point. And I buy these, usually buy a full package or multiple packages at a time. I just buy them at Amazon, but you can buy them in a number of different places. So I take that card and very quickly I just outline. Some of you are big inkers, and this is kind of my version of inking. So you can see no ruler, and it's just very quick. There's my first card, and that is going to go in this top pocket right here. So if you are new to the kits, basically what I do is I start putting things in, and I move them around a little bit until I get them placed exactly where I want them. Then I will add a little bit of extra adhesive to help them stay. So second card also is going to go in. Now I know this one I'm not going to see the bottom, so I'm not going to outline the bottom, and this guy is going to go in right here. And let's see, oh, over here I have just set up this little tray. It's a little fun kind of crepe paper ceramic it's ceramic, Layle. Little ceramic container that I'm using to kind of separate. I've separated my pieces here. One of the other things I want to show you really quick. Let me grab it. Is this, and I use this tray a lot as well, and anytime I use this on Instagram, people always ask me about this tray. It is perfect for storing as you're working on a project, kind of separating your little bits and pieces, your washi, cards, and things like that. This came from the Container Store, and they come in a package of 2, and I believe they're about $8, so really, really good value for that. If I'm working with more products, I'll usually use that big guy instead. But I thought this ceramic one from Crepe Paper was super cute, and it coordinates with the Bliss collection. So that's an extra bonus. One thing you may notice in the kits is that this month I have substituted die cuts. So normally we use 12 by 12 stickers. This month we're using die cuts. And that's kind of a fun little bit of a change up to show you that just the different types of embellishments that you can use in decorating your traveler's notebooks. They don't all have to be stickers. And I know you guys are going to say, Layle, hello, that's already black. Why are you outlining that? Just go with it, guys. That's just, I'm weird like that. And that is what I do. All right, so there's that. And I'm going to take a little bit of adhesive because this guy, better make sure I get this, whoops, a little bit more adhesive. This one is going to come right up in, oops, here, but it's going to kind of act a little tap, so it's hanging off the edge a little bit. All right, next set of pockets. We have the butterfly, and the butterfly is actually going to end up being hidden. So we used the butterfly theme for last month. Obviously, if you would like to use, oh, I didn't outline. If you would like to use the butterfly for something else so you can see it, you can certainly do that. And as we saw, most of that is going to be hidden. So I'm just going to outline kind of the top of it. Need to get my readers while we're doing this, because when I go to outline, especially on a card like that that has those stripes, really plays tricks with my eyes. All right, next one. So this guy is a little bit different. Normally it is meant, the orientation of the card is meant to be that way. That is an ampersand. But I really liked this part of the card, and I liked the pink background. So basically, I just turned the card upside down. You guys know there's no rules as we do this. No rules at all. There's nothing that says a card has to go right side up. So it's not going to go right side up. This guy is going to just tuck right in here. And when he gets tucked in and we start putting other things in, we're only going to see kind of that little part right there. All right, next thing. I have separated my bits and pieces here, my die cuts, into the different pockets. So I'm using this little guy, this cute little mason jar, but really I'm not going to see the mason jar at all. That is getting tucked right in there. Then these cards all have a solid pattern on the back, and it's that solid pattern. So in this next pocket, I turned one of those cards around, but I need to check to see which one I turned around. That would be, oh, right, that is the little rain boot. So let's see where that is here. There we go. All right, rain boot. So turning the rain boot around, just outlining a tiny little bit of that. If you guys could see out my window right now, it is so spring. It's beautiful. So hopefully it's spring where you are as you are working on this. All right, you'll notice as I tuck that into the pocket, it does not fit, right? It is too tall. That pocket's a little bit more shallow than the others that we're working with. No problem, I can either cut that off, but I'm kind of lazy when I do this, so typically I'll just bend it, and then there it goes. That works. All right, next guy, this cute little tag, Be the Joy. So I'm gonna try not, as I do this, to go out of the camera's range so you can see what I'm doing. All right, then you have this little piece of baker's twine. So that's 12 inches, and that is this, what we're doing right here. This is all that you need it for, so you don't have to worry about saving it for something else. So I'm just gonna send that through there. It has been the longest winter here, it seems like. I don't know about you guys, but spring in Utah is always really weird too, because it can be, you know, 40 one day and it'll be 85 the next. And that's kind of what we experienced this week, which, you know, I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong. But all of a sudden, when you were sitting in a lacrosse game in the hot sun for several hours watching your teenager play and it's 85, you're like, oh my gosh, where the heck did spring go? We kind of jumped right from winter to summer there. All right, so then just gonna mess with that bow a little bit, but there we go. And then that is gonna go right there in that pocket. Okay, so next, I did a little bit of fussy cutting. And I usually like to do this with each of the kits just because I think it's fun to take a card like this and use it, not as a card, but as a kind of a little die cut. So I talked about these scissors last time. I think these are the most awesome scissors for fussy cutting, what we're about to do. And I was teaching at a scrapbook store last year, and they had these scissors, and I thought they were so great. I bought a pair, and now I tell everybody about them because I think they're awesome. And these are made by a company called Elizabeth Craft. So they are spring-loaded, and you can see little tiny blades. So it just makes it really easy to do your fussy cutting. Last time I looked, Blitsy had them, blitsy.com. So if you have a local scrapbook store, maybe check with them to see if they have them. Or if not, if they would like to get them in, because they're awesome. And I don't have anything to do with Elizabeth Craft. I don't get any compensation for telling you guys about these scissors. I just think they're awesome, and I want you to know about them because I like to fussy cut things a lot, and these have been a game changer when it comes to fussy cutting. So don't worry, I'm not fussy cutting the legs. In fact, this one's going to be a legless bird because it's just a lot easier to deal with that way. Alrighty, so I left his little part of the tail on, and he's going to kind of hang out of the pocket, that little tail. But if you wanted to cut the tail off, you could. Now, he's just kind of sitting there right now, so I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on him so he sits right there and we'll say doesn't fly away, but really when I say fly away, I mean he doesn't fall out of the pocket. Okay, bottom pocket. There are a number of things that I have used in this pocket. Some of the, a lot more of the die cuts. Let me move these out of the way. Oh, there's my computer telling me what time it is. Okay, so the pieces that I'm using on this one, this little die cut piece that says Total Bliss, this little one that says Oh Happy Day, this little kind of label looking piece, this floral piece, this, did I use that there? No, I must have used that somewhere else. So not this piece, not that one. And then the tag. All right, so quickly going to outline just a few of these. And don't worry, I don't outline the flowers. That would be crazy. Some of you are going, it's all crazy. Whether it's flowers or a piece of paper or not. That's okay. I like it. Make sure that you can still see. Every once in a while I have to turn my head upside down and look at the camera just so I can make sure that you guys can see what I am doing. All right, and this little guy too. So I just did a quick. And there, yeah, that was just, I just kind of made it not straight. Not like any of them are straight, but that one was just a little bit more. Okay, so now we're going to fill the pocket. So I started with this little die cut, that floral die cut, and it's gonna go right down here. And then I just kind of start putting things in. And actually this little guy, I needed to finish that up because I'm not using this as a tag because I already have a tag there and that would be kind of redundant if I had two tags. I am going to use the side part of that and it's going to tuck right in there. So you don't really know it's a tag. It just looks like another one of our cute little embellishments. This Oh Happy Day is going in and day is going to end up getting buried. So it just says Oh Happy and that is okay because we're happy it's spring. Then the last little guy, well, actually second to last, this little guy, he's going kind of just tucking in back here, and we'll get those all situated soon. And then this little guy I had just poking up to bring in a little bit more black. So it's just gonna kind of go right there. All right, so now that we have all of those pieces situated, I go back in with my tape runner, and that's where I just add a little tiny bit of tape or adhesive right behind all of those pieces, so they're not going to go anywhere. Now I have to caveat this. If you have a nice leather traveler's notebook, I wouldn't recommend putting adhesive directly on the leather. I'm using, of course, the Carpe Diem traveler's notebooks, and these are faux leather, so I'm not worried about adding you know, adhesive to those pockets. I've done this ever since we have had the traveler's notebooks, and it's never been a problem. Every once in a while I get a little bit of sticky residue on there, and usually I can just kind of go like that and rub it off. If not, I could get like a dry paper towel, put a little tiny bit of goof off on that paper towel, and that would help to get it off as well. But usually I can just kind of roll it off with my fingers. All right, so this little guy, I want to make sure as I get that in there that Total Bliss part is hidden. I don't want that text to be there, because then it would be weird, because you'd kind of see part of the text and not all of it. All right, this guy next. I'm going to make sure I can kind of still see that little flower a bit because it's cute. Add a little bit of extra color. Oops. All right, so there we go. They're the base of our pockets. Now, there are a couple more things that I did to finish it off. Some of the die cuts, these really pretty script words. So I took hello, added a little bit of adhesive right here. That's going to go about right there. And then I also did lovely. Now, when we use stickers in the kits before, I normally just will put a sticker down there, but obviously this is a die cut, not a sticker. So I'm going to come in here and use that as a little background and just get some adhesive on that so it won't move when I put it down. So I'm going to have that kind of go right there. And last piece is this black heart die cut. So I'll put a little bit of adhesive on that one. And I just tucked that kind of in right there. Okay, so my pocket is more or less decorated. Now, for one of the two techniques that we're going to talk about in this month's kit, the first one I want to show you guys is making your own clips. So this is the clip. I'll just kind of pull this up and show it here. That is the clip right here that I made. And they are super easy to make. You just need a couple of basic, I'll call them ingredients. Number one, you need a clip. And there are a couple of different kinds of clips that you can use. With the kit, I've included that Pretty Rose Gold paper clip, but some other clips that I will use as well. I will buy just the kind of gold paper clips, and those are just, I think I end up getting those on Amazon because my office supply store doesn't carry those. So you can use clips like that. Another thing that you can use, these little guys. So these I purchased at Hobby Lobby, and they are kind of like a bobby pin base, if you can see that. What makes them so great is that little surface right there, that little round surface, because I can adhere anything to that surface and then make a clip. So let me put those away, and I'm just going to show you a couple of different clips that I've made. That's just a little resin piece glued to a paper clip. This is a bow, and that bow, I didn't even glue it. I just kind of threaded it through the back side there. Here is another bow that I have made. Again, just glued to the back, and then I covered that guy up. Let's see. Oh, one more. This is the clip, and this is kind of just a little puffy heart, but that I used that kind of bobby pin base from Hobby Lobby. So the key to making clips, and I have kind of done a lot of trial and error on this. The key to making clips is a product called E6000. Actually, that one is well used. So and let me show you this. They sell them in large tubes like this, and you can buy these at any kind of craft store. Is that upside down? No. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm looking at it. Never mind. Anyway, E6000. But they also sell them in these little tiny tubes. So these little tiny tubes are kind of fun for if you're traveling, you could take a little tube like that with you. Or if you're not quite sure how you might use a big tube like this, you can get little tube. I think they sell them though, 4 to a package, little tubes. Anyhow, this E6000 is a wonderful adhesive, and it is great for really adhering anything that you really, 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 really need to stick. So it works on wood, it works on glass, it works on metal, and the metal obviously is where we're using it on the clips. All right, so in your kit, you had a little flower. So you're gonna have a pink flower, and you're gonna have one of 3 shapes of pink flowers. So you may have that exact one. You may have one that's a little bit different. You also are going to have a little gem, and that little gem is going to serve as the center of your flower. So what I've done with the E6000 is I have used it in 2 spots. I have used it to adhere the center of the gem to adhere the gem to the center of the flower, and then I've also used it to adhere the flower to the clip. So all I'm going to do, I'll move this out of the way. Usually I will have a paper towel when I do this, and I did not bring a paper towel in with me. There's a piece of scratch paper. Make sure that's really scratch paper. All right, so take that, and I'm going to open maybe my E6000, and it likes to come out pretty quickly. So the first thing, you can see it's dripping. The first thing I'm going to do is add a little bit to the center and put that little gem in the center. Now, the adhesive that you use for the center isn't necessarily as important as what you use to adhere your object. So in this case, our flower, but whatever you're using to adhere your object to the clip. I'm going to turn this guy over. I probably should have done this the reverse way. So when you're doing this at home, first adhere the flower to the clip, then adhere the flower center. Because I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to probably get a little bit messy. All right, now, if you read the instructions, if you are on the E6000, if you are adhering metal to metal, I think it tells you to wait maybe a minute or two to let that kind of cure before you adhere. But this is a paper flower, so that is not going to matter. Before you adhere your clip, make sure your clip is facing the right direction. If you adhere your clip this way, your clip is not really going to be a clip. It's just going to be a little decorative metal flower. So I want to go ahead and adhere that way. Now, usually what I do when I have these dry, I would probably go back and put that on after it was dry. I'll set them face down like that. And you want to let that dry for about 24 hours, just so it dries really, really well. But one thing I wanted to show you that I actually did on the back of mine, because sometimes you'll use the clips in your pockets, but other times you might want to use the clips at the top of your traveler's notebook or your insert. And if you're using it at the top, you probably want the back to look a little bit nicer than just kind of the back of that clip. So what I did, I took the back of, oh, hang on, I put something away. I hate it when I do that. All right, I just took the back of the packaging for the bits and pieces or your die cuts, and then I took a little circle punch, and I just punched a circle out like that, and then I adhered that to the back of the flower. And I won't do that on this one, but I will pull out the one that I made earlier to show you. So that is what the back looked like. See, it's just covered up. That raw kind of paper clip has been covered up. And if I put that at the top of one of my inserts, and I am, oh boy, I am working on one of the pages, then the back side doesn't look kind of so rough or raw. All right, so that is how you make your Your clips, as I said, you can make clips out of anything. I've seen some really great paper clips made out of paper embellishments on top, made out of resin pieces, made out of button shanks, all different kinds of things. So look what you have in your scrapbook stash, even flare, the little, you know, kind of buttons. You can really make a clip out of anything. So make sure you let that dry. I'd say about 24 hours. You can't be in a hurry with that because you definitely want it to stay and not fall off, because with your traveler's notebook, it's going to get, hopefully you're using it and it is going to get, you know, might get handled a lot. All right, so I'm going to put this off to the side now. And just a kind of public service announcement, when you put that off to the side, don't set anything on top of it. That is what I would tend to do. I would have such a mess that I would set it off to the side, and later I'd pile something on top of it, and then it would be a mess and not fun. Okay, so that, once it's dry, I just added that to my pocket, but you could also, as I said, add it to the top of one of your inserts. Okay, now that we have pockets done, we are going to move to the inserts. We're going to cover the inserts. So with your kit, you are always receiving one traveler's notebook insert for the 2 months. If you started with us at the beginning, you had one in your traveler's notebook that you may have purchased, and then you also had a second one. So basically what we're doing is we are slip covering these inserts, because in most cases, I am not filling up an entire insert every month. So I want to have my inserts for May match May, but when I move to June, my June color scheme is going to be entirely different. So I don't want to have to get rid of my traveler's notebook insert and use something new. By creating a slip cover, I can just, you know, keep recovering my insert until I need to replace it. So you probably you're close to or have already filled up one of your inserts. So this is to replace your insert. If you don't have other inserts and need inserts, just shoot me an email, and we can look at adding inserts kind of a la carte to your next kit. Okay, the two papers that you have in your kit, they are these two. So I have oh my gosh, oh, you guys, I have used, and you know what? You guys are getting the real Layle. I mean, this is just raw, and this is exactly how I am. So yeah, I have used both of these papers, and I've used both of these sides. So as we turn them over, obviously there are A and B sides. If you wanted to use either of those sides as the front of your insert slipcover, you could, but I used both of these sides. So as we've talked about before, if you are using the Carpe Diem inserts, they are what's called a standard wide. So standard wide, standard is 8 1/4. So a true insert is going to be 8 1/4. You have standard, which is, I always forget this because we don't use standard. Let me grab one of my others. Okay, let's see here. This standard is 4 1/4. So standard is 4 1/4 wide, and I'll just show you this one. This is one of my many traveler's notebook inserts. Standard is 4 1/4 wide. Actually, if you look at the back side, it'll be easier, a little bit easier to see. Standard 4 1/4. Wide is 5. So that gives you an extra extra 0.75 inches. And actually, you guys, as you're working with your inserts, that 0.75 makes quite a bit of difference. So anyway, I bring that up because as we're measuring, we are going to need to cut that down, but we don't need to trim it left to right. We just need to trim it top to bottom. And because they are 8.25, usually what I just do is I grab my trimmer out. The trimmer I'm using, because sometimes a lot of people ask, this is a Purple Cow guillotine trimmer. I don't know, I've had this one for years and years and years. I think maybe Fiskars, maybe? I don't know, I think there are a couple of other companies that also make guillotine trimmers, and I am a huge fan of the guillotine trimmer because you never have to replace the blade. And this is probably 10 years old and it still cuts like day one. All right, so because our inserts are 8.25 inches tall, I'm just gonna cut this at 8.25 inches. Now, notice where I am cutting this. Let me move that up a little bit so you can see. I want this flower right here to be in the lower right-hand corner of my insert. So I've placed the paper accordingly. So before you cut, this is definitely a measure twice, cut once kind of thing. I'm gonna do that and I'll just cut that off right there. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna do the same thing with this guy. I've already cut the product strips off, so you probably wanna make sure that you cut the product strips off first. And then this guy is also going to be 8.25. Alrighty. Let's get the trimmer back out of the way. All right, so I'm going to start with, this would have been one of my inserts from a prior month. I'm gonna start with this little guy. And all I do is open that up. It's already open. I mean, open this up. Open up my insert. And I kind of center it. This is basically like covering back when some of us were in grade school, we had to slip cover our textbooks. So that's basically just what I'm doing. But I'm doing it for decorative purposes instead of kind of protective purposes. All right, so I'm gonna do that. And then in your kits, actually I'm gonna take a total segue here because we're gonna talk about the washi that's in your kits. I have packaged the washi a little bit differently than I have in the past because this is another technique that I want to show you. Your washi is in your kit. It has been tucked inside of a plastic pocket, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I have wrapped it, well actually I haven't wrapped it, teenage boys, my sons help with the kitting, so they have wrapped for you. But basically we've wrapped it around a kind of regular old playing card. The playing card has a wax coating, and that is really the key factor here. As long as I'm wrapping around a surface that has wax coating, this is now a card that I can wrap washi around, take it off, put it back on, take it off, put it back on. So it's kind of a washi storage card for me. So if I wanted, I could buy a box of playing cards. I haven't done this. I have lots of washi, lots and lots and lots, but I could almost make my own washi legend. So I could do this with all of my washi, and I could put probably maybe 3, even up to 4 different washis per card. And then I could put them back in the box and I would have my kind of washi legend, if you will. So when I'm trying to figure out which washi I wanted to use, I don't have to go find all of my washi. I can just kind of do this and look for the different patterns. Wax coating, that is going to be key there. So in this case, we have a little bit of washi from Bliss. So I am going to, readers have to come back on. I'm going to find there it is, the end of that. I just need a little bit. I just want to secure this piece here. And that is why we use washi, because this truly now becomes a slip cover. I can, it will keep it secure and wrapped around as long as I need it to. But when I am done and I want to slip cover for the next month, then all I have to do is pull that washi off and my little my insert is still intact. Now I cut my insert just a little bit, or my cover a little bit too tall, so but that's okay for what we're doing. Then I take the other side. The glasses have to come back off or else I'll make myself sick. Okay, then I just wrap this way. I wrap this way as opposed to while it's still open, folding it over that way, just so that it gets a little bulky here, and I want to make sure I count for that bulk as I'm wrapping around the back side. So okay, then we'll use a little bit more washi here. now I have that covered. All right, so now let's talk about that little storage pocket that your card came in your kit. These storage pockets are from Target, and they are found in their Target one spot. So that is that spot at the front of the store that has, usually it's a giant mess, but there's lots of kind of fun, very inexpensive little trinkets in there. So these little pockets have self-adhesive on the back side. So I can take that little pocket and I can adhere it right inside the back of my insert. Now I have a place to store my washi as I am using my insert from month to month to month. I think you can get 20 of those in a package. So you could buy a package and have lots of pockets, or you could split them with a friend or what have you. What this also works for, though, in a month like this where I have, I'm using my bits and pieces, it could be, my die cuts, it could be also a little storage pocket for my die cuts. So I have those with me on the go. Especially with this kit, you're gonna have tons of die cuts left over. So I would use those as I'm maybe working in my pages to add a little bit of decoration. So a fun little storage pocket there. Okay, so there's the front of our insert. And now we're going to decorate it because we can't, well, we could leave it plain like that if we wanted, but what's the fun in that? So yes, I do. You know what's coming? The outlining. Okay, not straight, but that's okay. That's part of the look to things. So I was teaching at a store in Colorado two weekends ago, last weekend. Time flies. And anyway, the store owners there were telling me there is a woman there that teaches mixed media in her classes. And they said that every time she starts a class, she makes all the students say, oops, oh well. So that's a really good thing when you're really kind of doing any craft, when you're outlining like I am. Don't get so hung up on it being straight. If it gets a little crooked, you go, oops, oh well, and you move on. All right, so I've used this little die cut, that little guy that says enjoy the little things. And oops, I've got E6000 stuck to the back of that paper. And add a little bit of adhesive there. And it just goes kind of right there. And then I add this little bumblebee die cut. Just gonna kind of go right there in the corner. And then I've also pulled out these two heart die cuts. So because these are the exact same shape, I can use them to make a tab. And when I say tab, I can use them to make kind of sections in my insert. So if I add a little bit of adhesive to this guy, I'm gonna bring it right here and add two. You can see it's kind of hanging off the side of the page. And then I will turn that over and do the same thing. Add to the opposite side. So now I can have different sections in my insert. Maybe I have different kids that I'm trying to track activities for, or I have different house projects I'm working on, anything like that. I want to mention again a punch like this, and this I bought years ago at Michael's. It's just a Martha Stewart. It's a little bit of a, it's a circle punch, but it has a kind of a little bit of a border to it. I have this, these two pieces are left over from cutting my inserts. So if I wanted, I could come in here and cut a couple of circles, and I could make two more. I could keep making tabs. So this would be my next section, and then I could keep making tabs for sections and sections and sections. And we've done that with our 12 by 12 sticker sheets before with some of the tab stickers, but that's kind of another fun way to make different tabs. And then you could just write, you know, whatever the section name is there. All right, let me get those back out of the way. And that wraps up my first insert. So in that would go. Okay, where did it go? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 traveler's notebooks sitting here. And oh, here we go. There it is. You guys, I don't just pretend to use these. I really do use them. That's why I have so many sitting here. Alrighty, so then this goes right in to that little string. Okay, so let's make our next one now. One of the things I just want to mention really quick, you'll notice this guy is not really laying flat because that's the extra bulk of the paper that we added. So if I creased the center or used my Score Pal, I might get a little bit, it might make it a little bit easier to stay down, but that's sometimes where I will use just little clips like this. So if I do that, it is now in there and it's staying closed. I could even close it like that. All right. Next insert that we are going to do uses this one. And this is the one that is included in your kit this month. And I'm not going to get too hung up on how the inside may not match what I have here. I'll show you what you can do, you can kind of do to help to fix that, but I'm not going to get hung up on it. So I am opening this up again to the center, roughly center-ish. If you've taken a class from me before, you know that that's one of my favorite words, ish, I-S-H. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's kind of centered. Oh, talk about not perfect. I didn't even fold that. Right, that's okay. Let's get out. That's another, oops, oh well. Oh gosh, seriously. Readers again. Isn't getting old just lovely? All right, heavens. Oh, you know what I'll show you too? As soon as we use the rest of that, I'll kind of show you. It's really easy just to wrap your washi around that. Okay. Now, if that was going to bother me, it's not going to bother me, but if that was going to bother you, I have these two pieces left over. So if I wanted, I could just kind of put that right there, and I would put that in right before I washi. Or if you wanted to put white cardstock or something, but it's no big deal. My 17-year-old son was just in my office. I have French doors and they're glass. And so I could hear him coming, and I always am nervous because I will be filming and I'm like, oh my gosh, don't barge in, because if you barge in, well, if you barge in, you might hear Sam. Some recordings, some filming that I'm doing that wouldn't work, and I would have to stop it and start it and do a lot of editing. Anyway, he stood up to the glass, and you know how they do that little, oh gosh, I can't do that. There we go, the little heart thing. Well, he did that through the glass. He's a sweetheart. That's Sam. Some of you guys have heard me talk about Sam if you've taken a class from me before. He is the tender-hearted one of the family. He's a sweetie. Well, Jack's a sweetie too, but he's our 20-year-old. All right. So I fold that over, and I'm going to add my other washi here. And you can see it's coming off super easy. That's the beauty of using a wax card to store that. Okay, so there we are, closed. But what I wanted to show you about this, I'm just going to unwrap that, and you'll see you guys have plenty of washi. You always have, I think we do 24 inches, so 2 feet of each pattern, each of the 2 patterns. So you have lots left over. Or you could use a different washi if you wanted. But what I wanted to show you is how easy that is to wrap around. So if you decide you want to make washi storage cards, really easy. All I do is literally just wind it around like that. So really easy. All right, the other thing that you can do, so we looked at kind of our washi storage pocket, but the other thing that you could do is you could store your washi card in here. And then it becomes kind of a decorative element too. Now, if you did that, I'd probably want to cover up that 5 there more. Maybe we'll do that when we use that other side for the next month. Okay, let's go back to our insert. And yes, this is how my day goes. I get sidetracked all the time. I joke that sometimes it'll take me like 8 hours to drink a cup of coffee because I brew it and I forget that it's sitting there, and then it's cold and I put it in the microwave, and while it's in the microwave I think, oh, I know, I'm gonna do something while it's heating up, and then a couple of hours later I'm like, oh, where's my coffee? Hopefully you guys are with me there. I know I'm not the only one that does that, right? Right. Okay. So the cover, I'm using this card, Enjoy the Little Things. Outlining, of course. And that is going to get kind of centered. Well, yes, centered-ish. More left to right. And then I think I put it down a little bit more towards the bottom because we've got a lot of stuff that we're adding to this. Okay, then we are back to, back to the E6000, and I just happen to have it here in my tray. I need to get back in my tray. Don't put the lid on like I did. Make sure to wipe off any excess glue because if you don't do that, you'll be looking for the pliers like I usually am when I go to open that up because it's kind of glued itself shut. All right, so back to die cuts. And for this cover, I'm using that large floral die cut. I'm using this black Happy Little Moments banner. I'm using this little flower, the butterfly, and then these two circles, yay and enjoy. You know what, this is gonna bug me because it's gonna keep popping open while I'm trying to work on it. So let's just do that. All right, so let's take this guy and it's gonna go right there. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I could tell something was wrong. It didn't look right. I like to joke that it's kind of like we're such creatures of habit that when you worn your hair for a certain way for so many years, like you've parted it on one side, if you ever try to part it on the other side, it just doesn't look right. And that is what happens when I see something that I've done like that isn't outlined. It just doesn't look right. Okay, let's go back and put this on just so it's not going to be the way. Okay, then we're going to do the butterfly. Butterfly is going to kind of go right there. And then this Happy Little Moments across the bottom. Oh, see what I almost did? Upside down. Let's get that right side up. Put that right there. This little flower is going to go next. And then I made 2 more tabs. So I opened this guy up and I did enjoy and yay. So we'll put enjoy right here and we'll put yay on the back side. And we will grab our traveler's notebook and put our insert right back in through the bands. And that is our setup for May. All right, you guys, thank you. Have a ton of fun putting that together, and stay tuned for the June Plan With Me video. Thanks, bye-bye.
Hope when you take that jump, you don't feel the fall. Hope when